G'day and welcome back to the channel. We haven't made any changes to the team since the Friday session. It was performing quite well and a lot of it was due to piloting error, so we will stick with the team that we have. We only have a day left for M-3 before we go to M-4, which just is a reset of the ladder. So we have our first opponent who's running Basculegion, Volcarona, Delphox Mega, or Mawile Mega down the bottom. I'm thinking Mawile Mega is more likely. They could lead with the Samurai, Basculegion, or the Runagris. So I actually think, unless they lead with Basculegion, Primarina could be quite good here. However, Garchomp is equally as good with rocks against Volcarona. We've got Outrage. They're likely to lead Samurai Basculegion because we have the Hippowdon. So maybe we do lead Garchomp with our Mega Gengar in the back. And then we just have to worry about, who do we have to worry about? Maybe Mega Mawile, which is why we should bring Hippowdon. I'm running out of time. That was probably a silly guess. I was thinking Hippowdon because that does give us some options for sand, and I've realized over the weekend after adjusting the generic calculator that I have been incorrectly assuming the types that are immune to sandstorm also get the special defense bomb, but that only applies to the rock types. So here I think we Outrage or Earthquake. I think we Earthquake. Earthquake's good damage, and it covers a lot of what they have in the back. Yeah, so I was having a look at, and the generic calculator now does. We did lose speed here, but we might be still faster. And ice types get defense boosted in the snow. Plus, again, enables good Roar Veil, and it's rock types in sand. So here's the Runagris. We're not overly negated by the speed drop because Runagris is quite slow. It could be our opportunity to get Hippowdon in, but we'll see what an Earthquake does. 44%. They're going to Trick Room. That is interesting. We did bring Hippowdon, so we may as well not throw our Garchomp in the bin just yet. Use this opportunity to get our Hippowdon in. Both going to be immune to the sandstorm damage. Neither of us get the special defense boost. But I will be attacked by my leftovers, which does not a lot of damage because Hippowdon is very defensive. Now, is it worth stealth rocking? Yes. They could have Mawile in the back. They could have Delphox in the back. So if we can survive another one of those, and that also has a chance to miss. We can slack off if it gets a little bit too much. But let's take this opportunity to stealth rock and whirlwind. It gives us something to do while Trick Room's kicking about, and we get to scout out to see what their last Pokemon is, which will give us an idea of what we do at the late game. So 3 out of 3, it connects with Poltergeist, and still hasn't even really put us down to half health, so I'm not quite sure the Trick Room here is helping them out. So let's Whirlwind to see. It is Mawile, so the Garchomp Earthquake here is going to be pretty good. Mawile Intimidate wasn't ideal for a Hippowdon, but it is what it is. Now let us have a check. So we've got one turn of Trick Room left. We can use this opportunity to slack off, get back to full hit points. They're gonna Mega. So we've seen Sucker Punch, that's usual for Mega Mawile. So you're always got to be mindful of the Sucker Punch because it wrecks our Gengar. But they've got Play Rough, it's pretty usual, but that does going to limit our ability to switch to Garchomp. Unless they do it again, and then if they do it again, would they swap to something else? This is all ideally where disabling Gengar would be really helpful. But we'll get an Earthquake off, we'll do a bit of damage. We could just as easily switch into Garchomp here, but it'd be taking a huge Play Rough. Try the gamble into Gengar. Then we're going to have something with Runegress, which, yeah, I don't think that's alright. I don't think that's terrible. So let's see if they stick with the Play Rough. If so, then a bit advantageous for us, and they do. But that does an incredible amount of damage. But that's okay. Gengar wasn't really doing much in this scenario anyway. So we will set up our Destiny Bond as that covers up us from Sucker Punch. But I think with Garchomp in the back, we've got enough for 2 Earthquakes, which should clean up. And there we see the Sucker Punch. So we get our Destiny Bond up, which apparently lasts until the next time we attack. So if we Shadow Ball and they Sucker Punch, we take them out. They didn't, so we just get to Shadow Ball. That's lovely. And then it's just Runegress, which again, Mega Gengar should be able to Oko, being Ground Ghost. Yeah, we should be able to do 50% unless it also has a priority move. But it has Trick Room and Poltergeist, is all we've seen. No priority. And down it goes, and we will take our first win for the day. So yeah, definitely a Gengar navigated that quite well. But yeah, I think they all kind of threw away their Samurai at the start. So yeah, bit of a mini-max, we would call that. Minimum and maximum plays throughout. But we have our next opponent. But yeah, we didn't see any of the Volcarona or the Delphox Mega. They went for the slow route instead. But we have our next opponent, who is Lorraine. So, very interesting. They've got Heracross, Orthworm, Blaziken, Raichu, Pelipper, and Azumarill. So, potential that they'd lead with Azumarill and go for something like a flip turn, but they could just as easily start with Blaziken, hit some speed boosts and Baton Pass. So I still think in this scenario we're going to need our tried and tested 3. King Gambit, not overly useful here. Primarina, it's good against the Azumarill. And then Corviknight might struggle a bit, so let's lock in. They're not likely to lead with Pelipper. They're likely to do maybe an Azumarill flip turn or a Raichu Volt Switch. So hopefully the Hippowdon here covers the bottom 3. They go for Orthworm, who likely has Earth under. So we'll try and avoid using ground moves on Orthworm. This is our opportunity to just set up the Stealth Rock, and they're going to do the same thing. My Earthworms are usually Stealth Rock, Iron Defense, and Body Press.
so Gengar should be able to shut that down quite easily, just as easily as it does for the Corviknights. They're setting down multitudes, so they've got Spikes and Stealth Rock, so we're going to have to use our Gengar to clean that up. So there's the Blaziken. So they could very much switch back to the Earthworm here, but we haven't taken any damage. So if they hang about, they might protect and grab a turn of speed boosts, because that will help them later apparently. But I don't know what Blaziken's answer to Hippowdon is, given it's already lost 14, 24%, almost a quarter of its life. So let's try an Earthquake again. They could, very likely swap back into the Baton Pass. Is it going to be back to the Earthworm? Is this going to be our opportunity to... Well, I guess we can just Whirlwind it away as well. So they baton the Speed Pass to the Heracross, which takes 13% damage. We then get an Earthquake up on it, which, so we're at 41%, plus the Sandstorm. So we've already pretty much taken half of its life away. They'll Mega Evolve and Exeter. This is a very physical beast, Mega Heracross. Bullet Seed. Let's see if they... Yeah, I don't think this is going to KO. So, unfortunately not enough for even the mightiest of attackers to take down. The impish Hippowdon survives another day. So we could see the Blaziken come back out, or the Earthworm. Yeah, it does take the damage from the Stealth Rock. So, I mean, we're just annoying them really at this point. We've now scouted out their team. They've got a big wall to try and get rid of our Hippowdon. But they're going to Shed Skin. Creates a decoy. Shed Skin with a Citrus Berry. We'll set up a substitute for maybe the Heracross to come back in. Because we can't Whirlwind while they have a substitute, so they're going to try and do some more bullet seeding behind a substitute. But they take more Stealth Rock damage, so a lot of the damage that's been dealt to them this game has just been from Whirlwind Stealth Rock, which has been quite nice. Earthquake should do enough to take out the substitute. We know Bullet Seed at most will do maybe half, although this is 5. That's a full 5 turns. Although Heracross got Skill Link. Skill Link will force that 5 turns, but at least in this scenario now, we've gotten rid of the substitute. Oh no, we haven't. Ooh. Okay, this changes things slightly. Not drastically, because we're more actually, to save ourselves a bit of trouble, let's swap to Garchomp. If they're going to Bullet Seed again, I think that's contact, so the Rough Skin should chip away at the Heracross. Let's see. No contact. So they just do some big damage. My plan then was incorrect. Because they're going to do that again, and that's going to hurt again, and Garchomp was the wrong swap. Maybe Gengar then, because we need to be able to do 2. So let's see if we can recover from our mistake. I didn't think Bullet Seed would do that much to Garchomp, but Garchomp has less defense, and it is neutral damage, where this should be resisted damage. Ooh, and we get a random cursed body from it as well. again, we're still not able to survive 2. That 5 is quite significant. So, in that scenario, I mean, we can take out the substitute and then try to take out the Heracross, but at this point, we should be faster than Mega Heracross. So, let us Destiny Bond it away. That leaves them with the Blaziken and a Earthworm, which we're going to need an interesting answer for, because we're not going to be able to Earthquake the Earthworm. So at least we'll be able to take down the Heracross here with our Destiny Bond. I'm assuming behind substitute Destiny Bond works. There's so many interactions here I have never had experience with, so yes, we get to take the Heracross down. So they could Blaziken here. And if they do that, I think in either way, we need to slap it. Because our Hippowdon was putting in work. If we went Garchomp then they would have protected. We would have had to have locked into a move. So now they're more likely to attack us than to just protect and get us turn us speed boost. So they'll lock into Flare Blitz. It kind of forces them to do something now than if we were to do it later, I guess. But I guess they're still going to turn a speed boost, and now they get to protect. So we might be in a bit of trouble in this late game because we lost everything to Bullet Seed. See, as much as I'd love to lock into Earthquake, I don't think that it would serve our Earthworm encounter well. So we'll lock into Outrage. Blaziken now has 2 turns of speed boost, which if they've invested something, they'll maybe outspeed our Garchomp, maybe not, and they do. And yeah, that should be enough to KO. So yeah, that was definitely my fault for underestimating a Heracross Bullet Seed. That was absolutely brutal. The only way to avoid that in the future is to just would have let Hippowdon go down on that turn and get a free switch in. So that's, again, more never-ending learnings to somehow write down and remember for future encounters. Because yeah, that Bullet Seed, again, I think that's probably the first Mega Heracross I've also encountered as well. So doing the rounds, but we have our next opponent, and we can see Gyarados, Archeludon, Skeledirge, the Hydreigon, Mega Lopunny, Mega Metagross. I think in this scenario, we lead with Garchomp. What they're likely to do is Choice Scarf Hydreigon. So we'll have Primarina to cover a fair bit from them. It covers the Hydreigon, it covers the Skeledirge. I'm keen to see if Primarina might be able to take out the Archeludon. And then, yeah, we'll Gengar to finish off the rest, I guess. We're just going to need an answer for Lopunny, but I think Garchomp's the answer. So maybe if we lead Primarina, that gives us okay coverage. It gives us opportunity to switch if they lead Lopunny. But if they lead Archeludon, Skeledirge, or Hydreigon, Primarina is going to put us in a better position, and they're more likely to lead them or Mega Lopunny. And also if they lead Gyarados, then at least we're not impacted by its Intimidate. But gives us some options. People in these scenarios do tend to lead with the Hydreigon. So let's see what Birdkeeper Dai has decided to lead with. It is Archeludon. So we could expect a Thunderbolt here. We don't have a lot of good answers, but let's see how much a Moonblast can do. We are faster than the Archelidon. It is a special attack. It's big damage. Yeah, they can get defense all they want. So they could... Ooh, a Miracle. Righto. And that will clean us up. Again, the many variations of Archelidon continue to plague us. So I think in this scenario, Garchomp might be a bit overzealous. Or will it? No, I think Garchomp's okay if we Outrage. Outrage should pick up. Let's just switch to Gengar. So there's a few chances of things happening there. I don't think we need to gamble on a Focus Blast. We just need to lock into Shadow Ball, get the KO on Archelidon, and see what's next, really. Some sick retro beats. So yeah, they could... I don't know why you walk over against them, but usually it's like Stealth Rock or Thundershock or Draco Meteor, or even we've seen Archelidons with Earthquakes. Now we see Gyarados. Is this going to be Mega Gyarados is the question. And if it is, then locking into Shadow Ball's not a great idea. They could lock into Earthquake here, or they could Dragon Dance. I wasn't expecting Mega Gyarados. If it is, we're going to be in an absolute world of trouble. It's not, but they could still Earthquake. But Sludge Bomb is big damage. 59. Citrus takes them back up to 65. And they do Dragon Dance. So, in that case, do we Sludge Wave again? If we do, they could Dragon Dance again. Yeah, so they do Earthquake, but they are a +1 too. So I don't think anything we do in that scenario then, because at their +1, they were already faster than us. So, if they're not running Mega Gyarados, they could be running Mega Lopunny or Mega Metagross. If they can Gyarados, then I guess Metagross, because we can't look into Outrage here. And I think we are faster than them. Whoa, but we do not KO them. If we get a flinch, we'd be okay. But we don't. Waterfall at +1. Oh, the Rough Skin should be enough to take it out. Okay. So we're hanging in by a thread here. Yeah, I don't know after the initial... and this was the reason I didn't look into Outrage either, although we're in a bad position either way. Probably should have maybe thought about, if it wasn't Mega Gyarados, it would be Lopunny or Metagross. But given it was Gyarados, it was highly likely to be Metagross because there's some good synergy there. Prevented us from looking into Earthquake. Our Rock Slide missed. I don't know if that would have even mattered because this should be able to pick up. So at the end there, we were kind of fishing for our Rock Slides. So against the Gyarados, we probably should have swapped to the Garchomp quicker. And then, because then our Gengar would have taken out the Mega Metagross. So, again, there's all these just fine details that are costing us our wins. But well played to the people, because whether this team just has a very unique winning strategy, but we do seem to be looking into the same three. But let's see our next opponent, Ben. They are already locked in. Wow. So we could see a Palafin turn 1. They do have Mega Victory Bell. I doubt Mega Glamoura's coming. They've also got Mega Sizzle. They could bottom 3. They could lead with Blaziken. Get some... So I think in this scenario, Hippowdon covers the Glamora, Blaziken and Victory Bell because it lets us set up the Stealth Rocks. Then we can Gengar. And then what do we... I think Corviknight is going to need to maybe Iron Defense and Body Press some of the remaining Pokemon is my guess. But in the same token, Garchomp can do that just as good. That's the thing that keeps just in the back of the mind. But I reckon Corviknight should be good. Let's see. So yeah, potentially expecting another Blaziken lead. Great Trainer, Ben. It's Palafin. So expecting turn 1 Quick Turn to get the 0 to hero. So this is our opportunity to Stealth Rock. So yeah, now is likely a Choice Scarf, Jet Punch and Palafin coming back later in the game. But for now, we're going to deal with a Victory Bell. So we could see the Mega Drain or the Strength Sap. That's another option for the Victory Bell. Could be some big damage here. Hippowdon's at a disadvantage against the Palafin and the Victory Bell. But we've got... We're going to take some big damage, or we're trying to do some big damage. I think we just need to get some chip in. I think Hippowdon with the Stealth Rock would have been a simple play, but I don't think it's put us in a staggering position. So they're going to big special attack damage. This will easily KO us, and nothing we can do about it then. Except now the Victory Bell is slightly faster, I think, so that's good. And takes a bit of the Sand Chip. That's going to be special. We've got a Mindful of the Palafin. Still doesn't rule out that Sizzle could still be a play. Victory Bell is running Leech Seed, you reckon? I think we Gengar in. We just have to be mindful not to KO the Victory Bell because it has that big aftermath damage. So we'll just Shadow Ball it. So they're not likely to grass us, or are they? What's the play? They're now locked in. Shadow Ball should do okay damage, but it shouldn't KO. They're going to lock into more Leaf Storm, which is not going to do a lot of damage. They're now at Neg 4 special attack, and they're locked in. So we can have a little bit of a play. I don't think we need to Destiny Bond. I don't want to KO them from 36, so I think if we Shadow Ball, maybe we get them into Sandstorm range, but no. So yeah, the Ended's out there, it's going to hurt us. So I'm expecting now the Choice Scarf Palafin to come back in and Jet Punch us to the end. And yeah, that'll pretty much KO us. Because I don't know what our team's answer to Palafin is, if I'm honest. Choice Scarf Palafin is nuts. And it'll pretty much take out the rest of our team unless Gengar... No, because Gengar's Shadow Tag. Would have been good if we Curse Bodied it. But we got Corviknight. We got rid of their Mega Victory Bell. So if we can get an Iron Defense up, Jet Punch might not do big damage. So we could survive this. Okay, they're not Choice Scarf. They have switched to Ice Punch. So, how is Palafin Hero form faster than Gengar? So they did 40, so they'll do 20, 19. So they'll do now 10. They're fishing for the the freeze, obviously. They just got to do that 10 times and potentially they could take us out. But I reckon, ooh, almost got us there. Unfortunate, but we still do have a turn to do another, or do we take this opportunity to... So we can do another. I'm just mindful that Sizzle is next. They do get the freeze. So they were fishing for it, and if you do it enough times, you are likely to get it. So at this point, we switch to Roost, and we try our luck. And all of our boosts are negated if they crit. We thaw out though, so boom, no dramas. We're back in it. So they could potentially go back to doing the Ice Punches, but they are just going to absolutely ruin their defense and special defense and fish for a crit. So now we're at +6. And we should body press the Palafin into infinity and whatever else is behind it. So no no crits from them. They were lucky enough to get a freeze, but unfortunately it only froze us for a turn. So we've been able to deal with the Palafin. Corviknight was the correct call there. Basculegion. Well. This has put us in a bit of a pickle because we do not have an answer for Basculegion. And probably last respects, although we are at +6. Yeah, we did not need defog here, unfortunately. So it's going to be a battle of struggle, I guess, or if they crit. So we had the Corviknight to cover for the Basculegion, to cover for the Palafin, but we didn't have anything to cover for the Basculegion. So we're going to be sort of just spamming out. If they are Choice Scarfed, what are they doing? 30? Yeah. They're going to run out of PP before us and start struggling before us. So... let's see. I don't know how much PP Last Respects has, but we'll be able to just keep mucking about, I guess. So if you're at this point and you'd like to skip ahead, this is going to be a slightly non-interesting battle for a few turns whilst we struggle, or try and force them to struggle before we struggle. Because we've got tons of moves to select, but if they've only got Last Respects, then they're going to hit struggle before us. So they'll hit us, we Roost. They are continuing to Last Respects, which does make me think that they are locked in. Not much we can do at this point, unfortunately, except wait for them to reach Struggle Street. And one of the many reasons... Oh, there they go. They got a crit, and that's all they needed. So we were waiting for their PP to run out. They were just fishing for a crit, and it seems that they can get a crit before we can... drain their PP, so Great Trader Ben has succeeded due to a, was it 4.25% chance? So well done to them. I don't know what our answer would have been if it was Choice Scarfed. It obviously outspeeds our Gengar, so we don't have it's another one of these, you know, meta threats that you're going to have to find a way to deal with. But we are on to our next opponent. Definitely seeing hard Trick Room here. Like, very hard Trick Room. So, our answer is... this. We're not likely going to need the Garchomp. We don't have any way to shut down Trick Room. So we just need to deal with the Armarouge is going to be the biggest threat. Armarouge and the Crabominable, both are their big threats to our King Gambit. So if we can shut them down, we'll be alright. So my plan is, whilst they work on setting up Trick Room, we'll deal with we'll use the Stealth Rock. But they've decided to lead Armarouge, so I'm not sure. Oh, Armarouge has Energy Ball. Okay. So this has allowed us to set up Stealth Rock. Energy Ball special, so it would have cut through our Impish defense. Are they likely to Energy Ball again? If they do, Gengar would actually, this is our time for Gengar to get in and do some damage, is my theory. We've got our Stealth Rock up, so if they swap out here, they sort of switch or they just use Psychic to cover. So again, we've fallen quite far in Master Ball, and we are still dealing with people who completely strategize. So yeah, because we could have gone King Gambit then, but we didn't. We get a little bit from our fallen Gengar. Again, they're threatening fire now, so no, they're gonna obviously see through our Sucker Punch and set up the Trick Room. Okay, so Armarouge did have the option to set up Trick Room. And now our Hippowdon should be faster, right? Which means if our Hippowdon was 67, our King Gambits, they know we've got Sucker Punch. We could have just Kowtow Cleaved then. What do we do? We'll try and Sucker Punch again, I guess. Oh, we actually get it off. Excellent. And that's enough to KO the Armarouge. So just humming and hawing there. We could have Swords Danced on the Provaso, but maybe we were trying to dodge our Sucker Punch and do like a swap in. Now Crabominable comes in, and we're really not in a good position because they've obviously can use some fighting moves against us, and I imagine Crabominable is slower than our King Gambit, so we can Swords Dance or take the gamble that they're somehow faster, and in which case they're not likely. We could swap to Hippowdon, but that just delays the inevitable, I guess. They've definitely got us pincered. Drain Punch will KO us. So yeah, and then Hippowdon is not doing much. It's fighting ice, right? I mean, the Sandstorm does subside. Is that Ice Hammer? I know it was Wood Hammer from the Abominable. So I'm keen to just scout out the Crabominable. But no, Crabominable does move faster, and an Ice Punch will finish up our Hippowdon. So again, cleaned up. I'm not sure. Yeah, the turn 1 Armarouge. I don't know if we would have been in a... Obviously, we would have been in a better position if we'd gone something like KO it, unless it was running Focus Sash. Then it didn't matter if we could outspeed it and almost KO it because it would survive and set up Trick Room. But because we went Hippowdon, the Energy Ball tech's marvellous. That's great. But we're on to our next match. We've got Garchomp, Gyarados, Mega Staraptor, Alolan Ninetales. So I think we've got Sableye and Blaziken. So I think in this scenario we lead Corviknight. We can just take our Garchomp as second. We don't have to deal with... We're going to deal with a couple flying, but our Garchomp against their Garchomp. King Gambit not ideal here. Hippowdon. Yeah, again, not ideal. I guess only really against the Blaziken, but we got Garchomp for that. Primarina could be good against the Staraptor. And the Blaziken. Gives us options against Sableye as well. Maybe Primarina would have been a good idea here. But we've got Camper, who TP. They lead with Gyarados, so our Mirror Armor here on Corviknight is going to be the correct call. Because that'll reflect the Intimidate back on the Gyarados. They are likely to Dragon Dance here and get it back, plus some speed. But by that time, with Iron Defensed. I don't know if they Mega Evolve here either. If they Mega Evolve, they're in a bad position. Because our Body Press does double damage against their Dark typing. So they got Mold Breaker. They're just going to go straight in for a bit of damage. At a -1 attack, it's not going to do much. And our Iron Defense now has doubled our Def stat. So if they stay in here and Dragon Dance or Waterfall or whatever, they're going to Ice Fang, which luckily we avoid, because last time the Gyarados Ice Fanged us, it froze us. So we are now threatening to KO them, which means they're likely to either try and Ice Fang again, or swap. And they could swap. I don't know what they would swap to be honest. They're just going to Ice Fang us, fish for a bit of a freeze. But we'll take this opportunity to get some more defense. And then, yeah, we're just going to have to fire back, because I'm expecting another Ice Fang or a Waterfall. Waterfall also has a chance to flinch as well, so I think that's another option that they were fishing for a secondary effect. Didn't happen. So with their Mega Gyarados downed by our Corviknight, let's see what else they decided to bring. Okay, so there's the Ninetales. So we know we almost KO with no Iron Defense through Aurora Veil. We have some Iron Defense, so through Aurora Veil, we might trigger their Focus Sash unless they're Light Clay. So they might be Light Clay. We also crit, so that negates the Aurora Veil entirely. So the last remaining is Garchomp, which is no match for Corviknight, because we are resistant to. It's got Brick Break, but we're resistant to the Dragon moves. We're immune to the ground moves. And we're resistant to their rock moves. So Corviknight has cleaned up their entire team. Crazy how you go from one match to the next, and the difference is very stark. We've got our award for defeating opponents. So where we're cleaning up our weekly goals before the ranks reset. We've still got some time for some few more. And we have our next opponent, Skin. And they are running maybe Mega Greninja, maybe Mega Charizard. They've got Mimikyu, Primarina, maybe Mega Metagross, and Garchomp. So the only scenario leading Garchomp is bad is if they lead Primarina. So I'm not expecting them to Trick Room, so I'm worried about if I lead Gengar, maybe their Mimikyu might trick me up a little. But I'm just... Yeah, I think we lead Garchomp. We have Gengar in the back. And then we need an answer for their Primarina, which I guess is our Primarina. right? Yeah. Because King Gambit here, I don't think King Gambit's going to have a good time comparing Hippowdon. Hippowdon's only got Earthquake, so that's only going to be really good against Metagross, setting up the sand. And then we've also got Corviknight. I don't think Corviknight, again, I guess against their Garchomp is a solid answer, but they've got Charizard, which certainly shuts down our Corviknight. They are on a 4-win streak. They are Pokemaniac. They do lead with Garchomp. So our Garchomp will have a gamble, I reckon. Let's see whose is faster and whose does more damage. They are out of there. They do not want to play this game. But I don't know if Greninja is a good swap in, unless they were expecting us to pivot. But they live with a Focus Sash, so not Mega Greninja. So we're blocked out from selection because we hit Outrage. So we just outraged Greninja off the board. I don't know what their plan was, but they scouted, we've got a choice card. So that's a little bit of knowledge. So did we get a 2 outrage or a 3? We got a 3. So we get a third one. And again, not enough to KO, but enough for whoever's next to come in to clean up. Because our outrage has ended. Oh, but they have Citrus Berry. So we were going to be faster. They Dragon Tailed, but we avoided. So we just click the outrage, we run the 1 in 3, and we succeed our roll. So we just outrage their Garchomp, outrage their Greninja. They are not in a great position to hold on to their win streak. So it's wild how some matchups are really bad, and then some matchups you just click outrage and win. Unfortunately here, we kind of need to swap out our Garchomp to give us access to Rock Slide, but our Garchomp is just mad for the outrage, and he's just going to keep doing it. They didn't Mega Evolve, they just Dragon Danced because if they Mega Evolved, it would have KO'd them. So this is our opportunity to switch back to Primarina, get rid of Garchomp's non-volatile confusion, hope that they, after Dragon Dance, use some sort of a dragon move. But they're kind of a bit pinned now behind Primarina. They did try and use Dragon Claw, which does not affect Primarina. So they have been properly taken to the cleaners. Sorry, not sorry for your win streak loss, but your turn 1 pivot into Greninja, I guess they were pretty. They didn't have a really good counter for Garchomp, because even if they'd stayed in, no, they needed to put some pressure on the Garchomp, and then they needed a free switch in for Greninja to actually make use of the Focus Sash so that they could Charizard. But even if they did that, Primarina and Gengar would have been able to hopefully clean them out. But we have our next opponent, and it is looking spicy. So they've got Ceruledge, Gengar, Archeludon leads. So I think in this scenario, wow, they locked in super quick. I think we lead Gengar. We then have potentially Meowscarada to deal with. Well, we have a lot of things to deal with. We've also got a Florges, so that could be an interesting encounter. We've got to try and deal with their Meowscarada, which causes us no end of problems. Because in all scenarios, Meowscarada is faster than Primarina. But I guess that's why we take Corviknight. And then we take King Gambit. I'm not 100% sure about this, obviously. I don't know if Hippowdon or Primarina would have been able to provide much assistance, but let's see if we can hold on to our 2-win streak. They lead with Archelidon, which is fine. They could Stealth Rock us here. They could also Earthquake us, but that's why we have Focus Blast. We are faster than them, so we just run the risk of them being sturdy, but they leave. They leave for Florgs. Florgs is not a counter for Gengar. So I guess they weren't threatened by us Sludge Waving because they were Steel. This Scouts we were Focus Blast, which misses anyway. But what is Florg's counter to Gengar? Why have you sent... Because we just Sludge Wave now, and that does 70%. Florgs does have pretty significant special defense. We do manage to get the 10% poison though, so that's lucky. Citrus Berry doesn't take them out of KO range, and all that's enabled them to do is a Light Stream. So our 70 is now only doing 35. They could very easily swap back to Archelidon here. We've got Corviknight to default. Let's do that actually, because if they Psychic or Moonblast, so they could just set up another screen. Calm Mind, okay. So we've got Calm Mind and Screens, but they're on a timer, and obviously we want to threaten Iron Head, but we don't have Iron Head. So we can Iron Defense. Oh, they're out of there. Okay, so Calm Mind's ignored. They've switched back to Archelidon. The Light Screen we can ignore because that was just special moves. And we're going to hit Archelidon with a +2 body press, I think. Or do we go more? They could Thunderbolt us. So I think Archelidon has the Reflect. Okay. What a interesting setup. Because that now does 30, where it could have done 60. But we've got the default. They're also now +1 stamina. And they've got leftovers. So let us default the Reflect away. Because that kind of forces them to think about maybe doing it again. So we've seen Reflect and Stealth Rock, Calm Mind and Light Screen. I wonder if you can use default, reduce their evasiveness, and then come in with a Focus Blast later on. But let's Iron Defense now. So they're just taking the turn to reset up Reflect. And they are faster than our Corviknight too, which is interesting. So they potentially know we could default here. But, okay, so they do have Thunderbolt. And that does big damage. So, default to get rid of the Reflect. They are faster than us. They could potentially use this opportunity to try and KO our Corviknight. Because I don't know if you would take this opportunity to reset up Reflect. I'm going to assume that they Thunderbolt here. And if they do, then we don't use Corviknight. We should be able to survive one. And Reflect does nothing to stop Gengar. They're at -2 evasiveness. So, if I do that and I do that, they're at -2 evasiveness. So our Focus Blast should actually connect here. But they protect. What? Why are they stalling out? What? They're stalling out their own moves? Because, okay, cool. Or are they just scouting?
going for the double protect, and they get it. So we've got Protect, Stealth Rock, Thunderbolt, and Reflect. So there's no Draco Meteor, no Steel moves. What's the end game for this Archeledon? I don't even think they know. But because of the evasiveness loss, we do get our Focus Blast, which absolutely, unless they were protecting to leftovers them back to 100%, because they were sturdy, but they weren't sturdy. So they just get KO'd. They do have the Meowscarada. We're expecting the knockoff here. I don't think we need Gengar for the Florges, because the Florges is poisoned. What do? We are faster. I reckon we Sludge Wave. Get them while they're Grass type. Ooh, okay. Yeah, cool. I was expecting that to do a bit of damage, but that just KO'd them. No Focus Sash, nothing. So all they've got left is Florges, who will go down to a Sludge Wave. So very, very interesting Archeledon there. I don't think it's overly effective though. Because yeah, Florges does not survive a Sludge Wave of 30%. So GG. Alright, so yeah, different time of the day, different meta, people bring in different Pokemon to battle, and you just got to kind of try and cater for it all and experience it all and take it all in. Win some, lose some, have a lot of fun on the way. So if you are enjoying this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and I appreciate the support. Otherwise, until next time, take care and enjoy. Thanks.